And we're going to actually stay in Jakarta for our next speaker, who represents a very influential other Indonesian foundation, the Bambang Ismawan Foundation. And ladies and gentlemen, we all know today the word sustainable, but long before we actually used that and integrated that into our vocabulary, somebody already lived it out there in Indonesia, and that was Bambang Ismawan. And his organization, Bina Swadaya, and I'm sorry that I have to actually consult my notes because that's not such a household name as yet, constitutes a social enterprise. Again, something that's a new label for something that was already done 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and that virtually touched the lives of millions of Indonesian. So let's talk about the gentleman. Bambang Ismawan is the founder and the driving force of this foundation, which is now 50 years old, and his own deep commitment to empower people is the driving force behind both the foundation and the work it does. He should now be connected with us, and we're very, very happy that you are there. Selamat siang. I think you're on mute. And that I don't know how to say in Bahasa.
Yes.
Selamat siang.
Selamat malam. I am honored to be here to speak at the F20 Climate Solution Forum on behalf of Bina Swadaya Foundation, social entrepreneur institutions. I would like to share Bina Swadaya's statement on climate change based on 54 years experiences in economic empowerment of the poor and marginalized people in Indonesia. The micro, small, and medium enterprises, or I would like to call them as small enterprises, were found in climate-dependent sectors like agriculture, fisheries, and tourism. Like in pandemic of COVID-19, they are the frontliner of climate change. In a world rising temperatures and sea levels, unpredictable rainfalls, and extreme weather growing frequently and intensity, small enterprises are facing overwhelming challenges. Unfortunately, the policy and regulation framework of the climate change tend to serve the government and private sector with insignificant involvement and orientation to civil society, including small enterprises. In order to effectively adapt to climate change, they have to overcome key barriers that stand in their way. Therefore, Bina Swadaya calls for, first, reorienting institutional arrangement framework of G20, including the National Adaptation Plan, by applying multi-stakeholders approach. Small enterprises have to be supported in adaptation to climate change. To this, the local government has to play proactive role as they can respond more quickly to solve the problem of the small enterprises in the area. Secondly, institutional, legal, and policy frameworks have to create a supportive environment to increase the investment on climate change. Solidarity action among G20 countries in the investment has to be built. Appropriate financing for mitigations and adaptation activities, particularly for small enterprises, has to be allocated. Thirdly, more effort has to be carried out to build small enterprises resilience. Most of them are illiterate to climate change. Awareness raising and innovations are needed for them. Importantly, they need to be facilitated to ensure that they can make a good decision for their life to adapt with climate change. Day-to-day life of marginalized people become more vulnerable, impacted by climate change and pandemic of COVID-19. The world, they would not be survived without strong effort to reduce the green gas houses emission into a zero in the long run by all parties. Only with solidarity, we can solve the challenges of climate change. Recover together, recover stronger, and no one left behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bambang Ismawan. It was great hearing your point of view. Thank you. It is really so relevant to have a global perspective and also to get closer to what's happening. And you started talking about SMEs, individual companies, family companies, and this makes a real difference. But let's move us closer again to Italy. Compagnia di San Paolo has been, you think it, has been working for the common goods since 1563, quite a long time, and experiencing all historic moments. And now he's working on, the Compagnia San Paolo is working and focusing on the sustainable development goals. And I think that they discovered, working very hard in these last years, that the number one objective, the one against poverty, is the most relevant, even considering the climate change effects on the social space in all the countries